Okay, and welcome back. This is our New Year, New You segment to whip us up into shape. And this morning we have our special guest, Logan Presley. So glad to have you, Logan.
Thank you, Sandra.
Logan she is a registered dietitian with Boyce Willis Clinic, and we want to thank Boyce Willis for partnering with us for New Year, New You. But this morning we're going to include also February is Heart Month. So thus the red. So anyway, we want to talk a little bit about eating heart healthy, and I think Logan can do that and help us along with that. So Logan, how important is it to eat 3 meals a day?
So everyone's a little different. It depends on if you have diabetes or other things going on. But generally, we do recommend consistent eating throughout the day.
Right.
3 meals is just a good guideline for that, keeping your blood sugar levels stable, making sure you're getting the nutrition you need during the day. So
right.
I definitely never recommend. I see a lot of diets online where people want to, not eat for 12 hours or whole days, and we really don't actually recommend that. So 3 meals a day, healthy snacks is actually a great place to start for healthy eating.
You really shouldn't skip meals, should you?
Not normally. For most people, again, we see a lot of diabetic patients at Boyce Willis, so keeping your blood sugar levels stable, a big part of that is not skipping meals. And for the general population, you don't feel good mentally or physically when you're skipping meals.
Right. What would you recommend to the average? We're going to talk about people that are diabetic, people that have heart issues. We're going to talk about diets for those folks. But general tips for the general population, how should we eat?
Right, and that's a question we get a lot, right? Because online we see all this different advice about try this diet or eat this way. But for the most part, it actually can be pretty simple. So more fresh whole foods, fruits and vegetables are great. Lean meats like fish and turkey and chicken are all good choices. Other good proteins like if you like eggs, nuts, peanut butters, things like that. And then a lot of times we forget, but a big part of that is choosing healthy fat sources. So olive oils in your cooking, if you like avocados, nuts and seeds, healthy fish, things like that, just as a very standard for healthy eating generally.
And I knew you were going to say that because I love vegetables. I absolutely eat vegetables all the time. Love to visit our farmer's market. But I cannot eat avocado.
And that's okay. I tell people.
But I need to, though.
I tell people all the time, it's kind of a range, right? Like, that's why I listed all those foods in the healthy fat category. Because if avocado is not your thing, you can still find another one there. Right. So don't feel tied to one food in that group.
But I feel like it's so healthy. I feel like I need to eat it some way that I can have the taste for it, because avocados are just, I hear avocado all the time.
Yeah, they are. And the reason people talk about them is because they have healthy fats, which most of us struggle to get in. You can always try putting it on salads, sandwiches, guacamole, if that's what you really want to get in. But again, there's other ways to get those healthy fats. Olive oils on salads, if you like fatty fish like salmon, if you do any sort of nuts, seeds, all those are ways to also get in those healthy fats.
Okay. What about tuna? Is tuna in one of those categories like salmon?
So tuna's a great choice. It's good protein, also good healthy fat. We just tell people to flip to the back of the package and watch your sodium.
Right.
I recommend doing it packed in water, making sure the sodium, you can check the per serving is not really high.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, let's talk about lifestyle change, because a 6-week diet or a 5-week diet is just not going to get it, is it?
Right. And no, that kind of goes back to the things we just talked about. When we're reading online, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right.
When we think about making changes to our health, most of the time these problems we're dealing with didn't come up over 6 weeks, so they're not going to change in 6 weeks.
Right.
So yes, picking diet changes, lifestyle changes that you can stick with, even if they're small, are way more beneficial in the long run than doing something crazy for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll speak to the diabetics out there. So what is a good talk to us about diabetics have a hard time. They call into some of our shows sometimes with bread.
Right.
Can they eat bread?
Right. So the good thing about diabetes, I think this is encouraging, is that a diabetic diet looks a lot like the healthy diet we just described. So don't feel like if you have diabetes, you can never eat your favorite foods again. The little caveat with that is we do talk about the types of carbs we eat and the amount. So specifically with bread is a carbohydrate food. So generally, yes, you can eat bread with diabetes. Kind of 2 tips. One, the type of bread you choose. Whole wheat bread has more fiber, so it slows down the way your body processes that blood sugar, prevents that spike and dip. So that's one thing you can do. And the second is just watch your portion size.
Right.
Instead of eating a whole big thing of bread,
right,
put it in a limited amount. So that's kind of 2 ways. You can still enjoy your favorite foods like breads while caring for your diabetes.
So fruits, vegetables for diabetics, and you mentioned eating often, small meals often, maybe.
Yes. Yes, and again, the whole goal with diabetes is blood sugar control, and there's kind of a short term and a long term with that. Short term, day to day, the reason we want to eat consistently throughout the day is to keep our blood sugar from spiking and dipping. You just don't feel very good when that happens. And then long term, if we do that, it prevents the other complication of diabetes. Poor eye health, poor kidney health, other things like that. So yes, eating consistently to keep blood sugar levels stable is very important in diabetes.
Let's talk about a little bit about, Logan. What are some of the carbs that can be bad if not eaten in moderation?
Right.
Like a great big old baked potato.
Right. So I tell people all the time, carbs are not bad in themselves. We just have to think about the types we're choosing. So fruits, vegetables, whole grains, those all have carbs. But again, they have a lot of vitamins and minerals and fiber. So your body doesn't process it the same way. The carbs we do want to avoid more with diabetes, things like sodas, soft drinks, any sugar-containing drink, biscuits, candies, pastries, so the things we love, but are things that we do have to watch specifically with diabetes.
And we do think of sugar. What about diet? I see a lot of people now drinking diet sodas. So do they have anything in them? I think they can fool you.
Yeah, so diet sodas, instead of using regular sugar, they use artificial sweeteners.
Right.
So it does take that sugar carbohydrate piece out. So they are a better option sometimes for people with diabetes in terms of monitoring your blood sugar levels. However, we do just say water is best always if you can do that.
How much water do you recommend a day?
Right, so it varies per person. A lot of times, we hear the adage like 8 cups a day. A smaller person might need a little less, a larger person might need more, but 8 cups a day is just a good guideline to start with.
About 64 ounces, would you say?
64 ounces, 64 to 96.
All right. And let's talk about heart-healthy eating as well, to those heart folks out there that try to do their best and eat right. What recommendations do you have for them?
Yes. So this is where I love nutrition because again, online we see all these different things, but the same basics apply to everyone. So one, that healthy diet we just talked about. The general healthy diet is our foundation. From there, for heart health, 2 areas we kind of want to focus on is the types of fats we're eating. So instead of saturated fats, things like butter, bacon, lard.
But we love bacon
we do.
and butter.
Sausages, country hams, the fat and beef.
We're in the South.
We are in the South. I'm from here. Cutting back on things like that can help keep your cholesterol levels low. And then adding in more of those healthy fats we've already talked about actually help raise it. The other component of that people don't think about as often is fiber. Fiber actually helps lower your cholesterol. So from fruits and vegetables and whole grains, that can also be helpful as well for someone trying to manage their cholesterol.
I don't think people think, I don't, about eating fiber as much as we should because it's so good. Like you just said, it does lower the cholesterol.
It does. It's good for your gut health as well, your digestive system, and it's found in the foods that we know are healthy for us anyways, fruits, vegetables, whole grains. So yes, fiber is a nutrient we don't think about much. That's really important important.
Absolutely. And what about red meat with heart?
So we normally recommend cutting back on the red meat with heart health. I do hate to be the bearer of bad news there.
Right.
But things like steak, pork, hot dogs are very high in saturated fat. So if you are watching your cholesterol, those are not things that will help you keep your numbers low.
And thus, high cholesterol, the more you're likely to have heart issues.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it all
So,
comes together.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so avoid saturated fats. I had some notes. Avoid saturated fats. And what are some things that have an extreme lot? I know you just mentioned bacon. What are some things that have an extreme lot of fat?
Right. And again, when I say this, it's not that you can never eat bacon again, but don't make it your breakfast staple.
Sausage, things like that.
Yes, bacon, sausage, steaks, butter, lard, French fries, anything fried has probably the most amount of saturated fat.
Right. All right. And again, we talked about this being a lifestyle change. And this diet has to go along, though. Our diet has to go along with exercise, a regimen, does it not?
Right. So, like our health is complex. There's a lot of pieces there. Diet, obviously I'm biased, but is the basis of that. But yes, getting plenty of physical exercise, taking care of our mental and emotional health, having plenty of water, all these things are tied in with that healthy diet.
Right. So it's the all-around, it works together.
It does
Everything
work
works together.
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Okay. Well, we do appreciate you coming on and talking about this and reminding us to eat our vegetables, our fruits, get our water intake, things like that. Is there anything else that we have not talked about, Logan, that in our diet that you would recommend or anything like that?
Yeah, well, and I think, like you said, Sandra, making it a lifestyle change is going to be the most impactful. You know, not realizing that you can still enjoy your favorite foods, but limit it, put it in moderation, have more of those healthy foods. Again, mentally is a much better way for people to think about it. It tends to stick and be more efficient. So I think what you said on lifestyle change is a really important piece of all of this. I like people to remember.
Well, people are so calorie conscious. They're to me, I think they're too calorie conscious. I think we need to be more conscious, am I right or wrong, of our carbs and our, but people just look at calories on the package.
Right, and they kind of go together is the good thing. So, yes, reading your labels and your calories is very important, but there's other things like you said, your sodium, how many added sugars, and again, considering the overall nutrient content. So is it how many fruits vitamins and minerals. And those are found in things that tend to be lower in calories, like your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains, your lean meat. So they do start to go hand in hand when you look at it that way.
When people look at a package, they look at sugars. But shouldn't they, if they're diabetic or whatever, all of us need to look at, explain the carbs, because people look at sugars and don't look at carbs. Should you not be looking at carbs also?
So both are important. You do need to check that total carb amount, but then the added sugar as well just kind of lets you know what else is going in there, what's contributing to those carbs, where they're coming from.
The carbs include the sugar.
Carbs
is that
include
right?
sugar. Yes, in the body, carbs are broken down into sugars.
Right.
So you have a big carb piece. When your body digests it, it breaks down into little sugars.
Right.
So when you see things like added sugar in your packet, you can know that that's just going to be absorbed more quickly into your bloodstream. It's going to raise your blood sugar more quickly.
Right. There's a saying, we are what we eat.
Right.
So sometimes I think, I don't, but I do try to eat healthy. But I think we are what we eat. So we're getting the sign to go to break. So I thank you so much, Logan.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope you'll come back.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you to Boyce Willis Clinic for providing this segment this morning and helping us along. Knowing how to eat healthy is so, so important. So we'll have you back another time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra.
All right. We'll be right back right after this.